Right now, there's something your brain does every single night, and the strange part is, you've experienced it before, many times, but you never stop to question it. It usually starts the same way. You're lying in bed, your body is tired, your eyes are heavy, and everything around you slowly fades into silence. No notifications, no voices, no distractions, just you and the dark. And then it happens. A subtle shift. Not a sound, not a movement, but a feeling. A quiet, almost invisible sensation that something isn't right. You suddenly become aware of the space around you. The corners of your room feel different. The shadows seem deeper. The silence feels louder. And without realizing it, your body reacts. Your breathing changes, your muscles tense, your eyes open just a little more. And then that thought appears. What if I'm not alone? It doesn't come as a full sentence. It's faster than that. More like an instinct, a signal, a warning. And in that exact moment, you feel it. That strange sensation like something is there. Not in front of you, not clearly visible, but present, watching, waiting. And the most disturbing part, you don't actually see anything. There's no proof, no evidence, nothing you can point at and say, there it is. But your body doesn't care, because your brain has already decided. Something is wrong, and here's where it gets even stranger. Even when you know nothing is there, even when logic tells you, this is just your imagination, the feeling doesn't go away immediately. It lingers. It stays just long enough to make you uncomfortable, to make you turn your head slightly, to make you check the door, to make you look into the darkness just one more time. And almost every time, you do the same thing. You ignore it. You turn to the other side. You close your eyes, and you pretend it didn't happen. But what if that moment isn't random? What if your brain is doing something very specific every single night, and you've been missing it all along? Your brain doesn't turn off at night. Most people think that when they go to sleep, their brain simply shuts down. But that's not true. In fact, your brain becomes even more active in certain ways, especially when it comes to one thing, detecting danger. At night, your senses change. Your vision becomes weaker, your hearing becomes sharper, and your brain shifts into a more primitive mode, a mode that humans have carried for thousands of years. Because in the past, night was dangerous. Predators hunted in the dark, threats were hidden, and survival depended on one ability, detecting something before it was too late. So your brain adapted. It learned to scan the environment constantly, even when you're resting, even when your eyes are closed, even when you think you're safe. That's why, when everything is quiet, your brain doesn't relax. It listens, it analyzes, it searches for patterns. And here's the key detail. Your brain would rather be wrong than be late. Let that sink in. It prefers to create a false alarm than to miss a real threat. So what does it do? It starts connecting dots that may not even exist. A shadow becomes a shape. A sound becomes a presence. A random sensation becomes a warning. And suddenly, you feel like something is there. Even when nothing is. This is not a bug. This is a feature. Your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do, protect you. But here's the problem. In the modern world, there are no predators in your room. There's no real danger hiding in the corner. But your brain doesn't fully understand that. Because biologically, you are still the same human from thousands of years ago, living in a world your brain hasn't fully adapted to. So every night, when the lights go off, your brain activates that ancient system. It becomes alert, hyper-aware, suspicious. And that feeling you get, that strange sensation that something is off, that's not imagination, that's your brain running a survival program in a world where it's no longer needed. But that's only part of the story, because what happens next is where things get even more unsettling. The feeling of a presence. There's a specific phenomenon that scientists have studied for years, and it perfectly explains that moment. It's called the feeling of a presence. And it's more common than you think. People from all over the world, different cultures, different backgrounds, report the exact same experience. They're alone, in a room. No one else is there. But suddenly, they feel like they're not alone anymore, not just scared, not just anxious, but certain that something is nearby, something they can't see, something just out of reach. And when they turn to look, there's nothing, no one, just silence. So what causes this? The answer is both simple and disturbing. Your brain creates it. More specifically, it happens when your brain gets confused about your own body. There's a part of your brain responsible for understanding, where your body is in space, where you end, and the world begins. But sometimes, especially in low light, or when you're tired, that system glitches. And when it does, your brain can accidentally project a second presence, a version of you that feels like someone else, standing behind you, beside you, watching you. And the reason it feels so real is because, in a way, it is real. It's being generated by the same system that creates your sense of self, so your brain doesn't question it, it accepts it. And that's why, even when you know there's no one there, you still feel it. Deep down, that tension, that awareness, that quiet fear. And here's the most unsettling part. This doesn't only happen at night. It can happen when you're alone for too long, when you're stressed, when you're overwhelmed, when your brain starts losing its sense of stability. And in those moments, your mind does something unexpected. It creates company, but not the kind you want. Your brain would rather scare you than fail. Your brain has one job: keep you alive, not comfortable, not calm, not rational, alive. And to do that, it follows one simple rule: better safe than sorry. Think about it. If your brain ignores a real threat, you could die. But if it creates a false threat, nothing happens. So it chooses fear. Every time. That's why, when you're lying in bed and that strange feeling appears, your brain doesn't say, "Relax, it's nothing." It says, "What if it's something?" And that single thought is enough, because your body doesn't wait for proof. It reacts instantly. Your heart rate increases, your breathing becomes shallow, your muscles prepare to move, and suddenly you're fully awake, not because something is there, but because your brain thinks there might be. And that's all it needs. But here's where it gets even more interesting. This system doesn't just react to the outside world, it reacts to you, your thoughts, your memories, your stress. If you've been anxious, your brain becomes more sensitive. If you've been overthinking, and your brain becomes more reactive. If you've been feeling lost, your brain becomes more unstable. And at night, when everything is quiet, all of that rises to the surface. There are no distractions to hide it, no noise to cover it. Just you and your mind. And your mind is not always your friend. Sometimes it exaggerates. Sometimes it distorts. Sometimes it creates things that feel completely real but aren't. And the more you try to ignore it, the stronger it feels. Because ignoring something doesn't make your brain stop processing it, it just pushes it deeper. And at night, those things come back, stronger, clearer, closer. So that feeling, that presence, that moment where something feels wrong, it's not random. It's your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do, even if it's doing it too well. Why you always look back? There's something almost automatic about what you do next. You look, even when you don't want to. Even when you know there's nothing there, you still look. Why? Because your brain needs closure. When it detects something unusual, it doesn't relax until it confirms safety. So it forces you to check, to scan the room, to look into the darkness, to turn your head slightly, just enough, to see what's behind you. And for a moment, everything stops. You hold your breath. Your eyes focus. Your body freezes. And then, nothing, just your room. Exactly as it was before, and yet, you don't feel completely relieved, because the feeling doesn't disappear instantly. It fades slowly, like something leaving the room, without being seen. And that's what makes it so unsettling, not the fear itself, but the uncertainty. The what if. What if something was there, just for a second? What if you missed it? What if your brain reacted to something real, and you dismissed it? And now, you're left with a choice. Ignore it, or keep thinking about it. Most people choose to ignore it. They grab their phone, they scroll, they distract themselves, they force their mind to move on. But the brain doesn't forget that easily. It stores the experience. It remembers the pattern. And the next night, when the same conditions appear, darkness and silence, stillness, it runs the same process again, faster this time, stronger, more convincing. And that's how a simple feeling turns into a recurring experience, night after night, without you even realizing it. The truth you keep ignoring. So here's the truth. That feeling you experience every night isn't something external. It's not something watching you. It's not something hiding in your room. It's something much closer than that. It's your own mind, your brain, trying to understand a world that becomes unfamiliar in the dark, trying to protect you, even when there's nothing to protect you from. Creating signals, just in case. And sometimes, those signals feel real enough to convince you. But once you understand this, something changes that moment. When you feel like something is there, loses its power. Because now, you know where it comes from. It's not a mystery anymore. It's a process, a system, a reaction. And the next time it happens, because it will happen again, you'll notice something different. Instead of reacting instantly, you'll pause. Instead of believing it completely, you'll question it. And instead of feeling controlled by it, you'll observe it. And that changes everything. Because the moment you start observing your mind instead of blindly reacting to it, you take back control, and suddenly, that presence, that fear, that strange sensation, becomes what it really is. Just your brain, doing its job, even if it feels like something else.